Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Madison, and today I'm going to show you how to make a super awesome chocolate chip cookie recipe that I have kind of twisted and tweaked from two different recipes. One of them is from, I think it's called BA's Best chocolate chip cookie, and that is mostly because of the fact that there's brown butter. And then the other one, which it's mainly from, is from, I think it's called like the Joy of Cooking. Let me see before I say the wrong thing. Okay, so it's from Joy Food and Sunshine, and I'll link the recipe down below because most of this is from her. So if that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and keep watching. And yeah, thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. Thanks guys. So to start, I'm gonna go ahead and brown the butter because you need to do that first. It needs to cool off for at least like 5 minutes outside of the refrigerator, and then you put it in the fridge and it has to cool off in there for probably like 30 minutes to an hour or so, depending. So that's definitely a crucial part. So let's go ahead and get into that part. Hi guys, so I have 2.5 sticks of butter here. And I'm using unsalted. I just started it melting already because I got too excited. So anyways, yeah, so all I did was just put 2.5 sticks in here, and we're just gonna brown this butter. And this is honestly the first thing that you have to do because it has to chill. So I'm just gonna kind of stir it a little bit, and it can hang out. In this stage, it can hang out like pretty easily. So the reason that we're browning the butter is so that we can get like some nice like caramelized flavor to it. And I just put this on a medium-low heat. So now it's just gonna bubble away like this. You want to use something that is still like here I have about 1.5 inches of space left. Because whenever you're doing this, it actually foams up a lot at the very, very end. And I know that I have fingernail polish, and it's kind of like ridiculous, and it's a little messed up right now. But the only people who are eating these are me, my boyfriend, and my roommate. And they don't care. They just want cookies. My hands are super clean. I just washed them. And you just want to stir it periodically because you don't want the milk solids to sink to the bottom and burn down there. You just don't want it to burn at the bottom. And I like to use a heat-proof or heat-resistant spatula. This is actually my favorite one. It's from, it's called like Brooklyn and Steel Company. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. It's Brooklyn and Steel Company. There's like this whole thing in here is solid. It's one piece. It's super easy to clean. It's very sturdy, and like you can stir cookie dough with it too, which is amazing. I can't remember where I got it. I feel like maybe I got it at Marshall's or something. I honestly can't put my finger on it. And the smaller amount of the butter that you're browning, the faster this is gonna go. Like, since there's so much volume here, it is gonna take a little while, and you might want to like walk away from it, but honestly try not to, because you can burn it really easily, and you do want to stir it like every minute or two. As you can see, this is getting a little bit more separated, like all the milk solids are rising to the top, and we're just waiting for those to cook off. The further along that this goes, the more bubbles will appear and they will be in your way. So stirring it kind of gets the bubbles out of the way and you can judge the color. As you can see, this is still super bright yellow. It will begin to brown. And this is where you kind of want to stir it like more often, but it doesn't have to be the entire time yet. Whenever we get further, you'll want to stir it like the entire time. But see, as you can see here, you literally cannot see anything. And at this moment is whenever it starts smelling like a bit more like nutty as well. And that's how you know that you're getting close. So I'm just gonna continue stirring here. I can see the color. I can also see, you're gonna see some like brown bits at the bottom that resemble like brown sugar or something like that, which is totally fine. They are just part of the browning process. And at this point, you definitely want to have something like over to the side that you can move this pan over to cool off for a moment. Because this is going to end up needing to come out of the pan like pretty quickly after. It's kind of hard to judge sometimes. Like, see how I'm stirring this and you kind of can't see anything? And see how much it's foaming? That's why you want to have like the extra side here, because I actually made this one time like in a pan that was a little bit too small. It was my one that's like this but a little bit smaller, and it was not a good time. The other thing I like about this pan is that you can see the color of everything. So like a white pan, a pan like this, like stainless steel, like anything that you can see the color is good, because if you use like a black Teflon, you really can't see and you're gonna probably burn it. I mean, unless you do it all the time and you do it by like time as opposed to color. So we're getting super close here. It looks a little bit darker on camera, but it's barely a difference. It smells super nutty. As you can see, there's all this foam right here, so you can barely see it. But if you go like that, you can see that there's still yellow peeking through here. And so we're not quite there yet, but almost, very close. And I can see all the brown bits at the bottom here. And those are pretty much just like the leftover milk solids that are like caramelized. Super close, super close. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off. Okay, and then this is just, it looks super black on camera. I promise it's not that black. Let me see if I can get like a better like idea of this. You kind of can't, okay? So it just looks super black on camera, but it's not. It is dark brown, deep brown, like almost to molasses, but not. So I'm just gonna let it cool here for just a second. And then now is the time that you use the 1 tablespoon of butter. I just have a bit of Kerrygold here. It actually doesn't really matter how much you add, like just about a tablespoon or so to this. It's gonna foam. And the reason that I'm doing that is because whenever you're using a recipe that is made for softened butter that isn't brown, which is what I'm doing because I'm using something from Joy and Sunshine. So you can see that it's like super foaming right now. Whenever you do that, you still need like that same amount of volume. And so, whoa. Ah! You still need that same amount of volume. So I'm just gonna start pouring this in here because I'm literally like, it's foaming up so much. See, even for me. And I'm just gonna let that calm down for a second. I just have a Pyrex bowl here. I wanted something that was a little bit wide that I could dump this into. And as you can tell, there is a lot of little brown bits here. Okay, So the reason that you have to add a tablespoon or so of extra butter is because whenever you're cooking this, you lose volume. And whenever you're losing that volume, the recipe was made a certain way and it will yield a different type of cookie. So you can also put this in like a measuring cup and just measure out exactly how many ounces that you need, like depending on how you make the recipe. And that way you get exactly what you need. Okay, so we have our brown butter here. It looks freaking crazy, I know. So I'm gonna let it cool on the counter for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I'm actually gonna stick this in the refrigerator, and then it just needs to pretty much just like become like soft instead of liquid. Like you want it to be like softened butter. That is the goal here. So I will see you guys at some point later whenever this is ready. Mitzi's making noises. If you guys don't know me, I have a dog named Mitzi and she just does things. So if you hear her, that's what's happening. The next thing that we are going to go ahead and get into is measuring out all of the ingredients. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some chocolate. So in her recipe, I think she just uses like semi-sweet or something. I like to use a lot of different things in my cookies. So I have some Guittard chocolate. I actually have 2 types of this. And then I also have some Ghirardelli. So of this, I have a milk chocolate variety, which is just this one. And then the other one is, it's a semi-sweet chocolate, and it's 48%. The Ghirardelli that I have is 72%. I like their like little bar of it. So I'm gonna point you guys down so you can see what I am doing. I'm like weighing everything out. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I have my scale here, and I'm just going to put it on ounces. I'm just gonna tear it out with a bowl, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start putting chocolate in here. So what I need is 3 cups of chocolate, or other things to put in it. I'm also putting some walnuts and some pecans in here. So all together, it's gonna be 3 cups. So I'm gonna make half of these cookies just brown butter cookies. Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 ounces of milk chocolate. Ooh, nice. I haven't used these before and they're such an interesting shape. I'm really excited about this. And then of the semi-sweet, I'm gonna go ahead and do 3. And then this is just that Ghirardelli I was talking about, and I just want to do like shards of this. And you can use any kind of chocolate that you'd like, but it's nice to have like the semi-sweet and like kind of a dark chocolate here, because it helps balance the sugar in the sugar cookie, first of all, but it also pairs so well with the like caramel flavor of the brown butter. So altogether for mine, since I'm making a half batch and I'm putting walnuts and pecans in here, I have 7 ounces of chocolate. And for the walnuts and pecans, it'll just be about like 1 or 2 ounces. And I like them to be kind of like big chunks. You can really use any kind of nut that you would like. I just like these because they're still like a soft one, so it doesn't like take away from the cookie too much. And it does matter what kind of chocolate chips you use. And I just have some pecans here. Probably another ounce or so, 3/4 of an ounce. Yeah, about an ounce. And I just have these here, I'm just gonna kind of toss it together a little bit and break some of these in half. Cool, so I'm just gonna toss this to the side. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and measure out our flour here. And I am gonna actually put it on this. I prefer to put it on parchment and then just funnel it in. And this is just all-purpose flour that you'll need. And we're using 4.5 cups because I am doing a batch and a half. And something really important to remember is to fluff your flour before you start measuring. And you always want to remember to fluff your flour before you start measuring it because you don't want a heavy cup of flour. I also find with the parchment paper it's easier to remember how many cups you put on it because you can kind of section them out. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour in the chocolate chips and nuts, and that way it'll just keep them suspended. So now that we have our flour measured out, this is the time that I like to go ahead and get the oven preheated. We need to preheat it to 375. And that's because my oven takes 15 minutes to heat up. So now to this flour, I'm gonna go ahead and add the baking powder and baking soda. For the baking powder, I need 3/4 of a teaspoon. Accidentally went a little light-handed there. And then for the baking soda, we need 1.5 teaspoons. And just to make it easier, I'm gonna go ahead and put my eggs in a little measuring cup. And I just have like an extra yolk over here, so I'm just gonna use that. It's from like breakfast this morning. It'll be fine without the white on there. Okay. So we have our flour, baking soda, baking powder. I also grabbed some salt because we'll need it in just a minute. I have our eggs set to the side here. We also have the chocolate and nuts with a little bit of flour in here. And then I didn't get to tell you guys about the sugar. So altogether you need 3 cups of sugar. I have 2 cups of white sugar, and a little bit more, and then a little bit of coconut sugar because I like to make cookies with coconut sugar, mostly because it'll help lower how your body metabolizes the sugar in the cookie. Obviously, these are sugar cookies. There's a whole bunch of sugar in here, but it'll just help just a little bit, and it adds a nice little like nutty flavor. Completely optional. You can go ahead with brown sugar, whatever. Or just more white sugar. And then here, like in the middle, is some molasses because I don't like buying brown sugar anymore because it's so much easier to just have a container of molasses. It lasts forever. I don't have to worry about a different container for it and all this stuff. So I just put like 2 tablespoons of molasses in here, and that will act as like the nutty, deep brown sugar flavor because that's what brown sugar is. Okay. So, and then I also have the brown butter from earlier. I left it out to soften because I was actually gone way longer than I was supposed to be. My boss called me and was like, "Hey, can you go do this?" And I'm like, "Okay." And this has an amazing smell, like it's freaking crazy, and this is the color that you're looking for. Hopefully it's showing up properly on there. It's like a kind of like dark yellow, and then it's got the deepened pieces of like milk solids at the bottom here that you can see. So that is completely fine. You did nothing wrong if that is what yours looks like. So I have a stand mixer here with the paddle attachment. Pretty necessary whenever you're gonna cream butter and sugar together to have like either beaters or a stand mixer. I mean, you could do it by hand. It would just be really difficult. I mean, you'd have to whisk for 20 minutes, maybe longer than that, depending on your whisking skills and your arm muscles. So I am just getting all of this goodness in here. And the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is just lock it and then turn it on. So I just want to kind of get this broken up just a little bit because it is still, you know, kind of together. And then I will add the sugar so that it can cream together. Also, I mean, I didn't really introduce you guys to my new kitchen, but here's my new kitchen. I'm going to have to show you guys like the whole thing at some point for sure. It is super nice. I wish there was a little bit more like natural light in here. Like I have a window open and there's still like not enough light. So now that this is pretty much just like broken up and kind of creamy, I can go ahead and add the sugar in here. And this is the consistency that you're looking for. It just kind of, it looks like frosting at this point, like frosting that's not been in the refrigerator. So I'm gonna go ahead and add all of this sugar. And I'm just gonna turn this on. And honestly, it's really, really hard to like over cream your butter and your sugar. This will be even easier because of the brown butter. It just is a different texture, so it'll just make it really, really easy to cream together. But yeah, so you can literally like walk away. This is your time. If you need to go walk away to do something, this is honestly like the time to go and do it. This is also whenever I like to get my pans together. So in this moment, my butter is still creaming. I'm gonna get my pans together and then I will be right back to show you what it looks like in a minute. So I would say cream your butter and sugar together for about 5 minutes. I went ahead and set my pans out over here with parchment paper on them, and that way they can just be ready for whenever the dough is also ready. And then I'm just gonna turn this up just a little bit to, so right now, so I was on stir. I'm gonna put it on 4 for like 3 minutes here, and that way it can get nice and fluffy. And I'm just gonna scrape down the sides and the paddle. And this honestly is very edible, like super edible, because it's just brown butter and sugar together with the molasses. And honestly, this could be a dessert by itself. You could put this on toast and it would probably be amazing. And I'm so serious, like just cream this together and just like, it's kind of like Texas Roadhouse, like honey butter, like molasses, sugar butter. Delicious. Okay, so this has been creaming together on 4 for about 3 minutes, and it's getting lighter in color, which is perfect. So this is what you want to see. It's super light, super fluffy. Anytime you're creaming butter, you'll know that you're pretty much there because it's homogeneous with the sugar. And not only that, it also is always going to be a lighter color. Creamed butter is always lighter because you whip so much air into it that it appears to be a lighter yellow because of all the air that's in it. So now that we're here, I'm going to go ahead and put it on 2. And this is where we're going to add the eggs one at a time until they're incorporated. And what that means is that you just don't really want to see the egg anymore. Like it'll go in, it takes about 10, 20 seconds, and then it's incorporated, and you can go ahead and add the next one. I know sometimes that kind of seems a little ambiguous, but honestly, like, sometimes things are really simple, and this is one of those things. And I'm gonna go ahead and add the last one. And the reason that you incorporate eggs slowly like this is because you don't want to break the mixture that you have here with the butter and the sugar. It's kind of, even though it's not so delicate that you can like over cream it, you can over cream it, but it's delicate enough to where like you just have to be careful whenever you're adding liquids to it, but it's not so delicate where you have to be scared of like touching it. So that is in there. It pretty much looks exactly the same as it did. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see streaks of egg. You don't want to see anything like that. It should be almost exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to slowly incorporate the flour, baking powder, and baking soda into this. What I really like, and the reason I keep using her recipe, is that it doesn't break the mixer. Like, there's a lot of recipes out there that literally, like, you start adding the flour, and it's so much flour compared to the butter that it's really, really, really hard to mix for the mixer. And then you have to mix it yourself, and it's, like, so difficult. So I'm just adding, like, half. And you really want to start it slow because it will go everywhere. I've done it many, many, many times. And this is the same thing. It's no big deal. You just don't want to see too much flour anymore. Then you can pause it for a second, put it back in. Honestly, that was what, like 20, 30 seconds. The only reason you add flour in batches is so that it doesn't go everywhere. Which sometimes it just does. I usually put like something underneath. Like, one of my favorite like tricks is to put something underneath the mixer so that in case something goes, like it just goes on the parchment or whatever. I hear Mitzi's little paws like going. So I'm gonna add a half a teaspoon. Actually, how much is this? I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt to this, and this is kosher salt. Okay, so this is our dough. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of the dough off of this, and I did wash my hands a couple times between takes, so you don't have to worry about them being dirty. You actually don't have to worry about them being dirty at all though, because you're not like here, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding. But seriously. Sometimes it's good to mind your own business. What am I talking about? It's always good to mind your own business. And I'm just gonna kind of bring this together a little bit with the spatula. Sometimes there's pieces of flour at the bottom that didn't get to get hydrated, and you just wanna check that out a bit. Bless you. But you just came in here sneezing. So I'm gonna go ahead and portion some of these out to be brown butter cookies, and then I'll be back to show you me putting the chocolate and walnuts and pecans in. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the rest of my dough here. I'm gonna go ahead and stir the chocolate a little bit since that flour is in there, and then just dump. And it might seem like a lot, it kind of is, but the good thing about chocolate chip cookies is that you can really put like however much you want. So, you know, I told you guys like the ounces, so you can kind of give like a gauge of like what you think it looks like, so what you think it might taste like. Sorry guys, I like delivering for Amazon now, like I am freaking exhausted all the time. And my arms are like so tired. Another thing I like about this dough is that you don't have to chill it. It's very easy. Easiest dough ever. Here I just have some more of the plain brown butter ones, and I'm just going to section some more of these out here. And it's so easy with a scoop. Makes your life so much easier. If you don't have a scoop, honestly, it's so easy to just go and buy one. Just do it. Like, if you're putting it off, just live your life, go do it. The one that I'm personally using right now, I think this is an ounce. I'm pretty sure this is an ounce scoop. Or an ounce and a half. It might be an ounce and a half. I honestly can't remember. Cool, and then I'm just gonna kind of push them a little bit because these cookies actually don't spread that much by themselves, which I'll have to work out at some point in time, but that time is not now. And then I'm just gonna do a test on a couple with a little bit of salt and just see how I feel about that. Sometimes you just have to test stuff. So these are going in 375 for about 7 to 9 minutes. You just have to keep an eye on them. So I'll come back after all the cookies are done and we will taste them. So let's talk about how and when you take them out of the oven. So you still want them to be a little bit like gooey looking. Like, see how that looks really soft? If I put my finger on it, my finger is gonna indent right there. So that is not completely done yet. I do see some browning on the edges here. These cookies need 1 more minute. They will still be soft whenever you take them out of the oven. The cookies are always gonna still be a little bit soft whenever you take them out of the oven. And the reason for that is because as they're cooling down, you wanna cool them down on the sheet for about a minute, and then that will add pretty much a minute to their cooking. And then also they're gonna cool on the counter, which is gonna add let's say that they were cooling for 5 minutes. That kind of adds 1 or 2 minutes of actual cooking, just even though they're cooling down. And then once they're completely cooled, they're an absolute completely different texture than whenever they come out of the oven. And they just, because of that cooling cooking time, you have to make sure that you don't overbake your cookies. So, good luck. Okay guys, so they're finally done and they're right here. I'll get a close up in just a second. Wow, okay, so it's been a long time since I filmed a cooking video and I completely forgot how difficult it is, and I'm remembering that editing it is like gonna be really hard too. So if you could please like this video, that would be really, really helpful for me. If you like my cooking videos, please let me know. And let me go ahead and show you guys. These are just on a cooling rack right now. I had them like set up on top of something so you could see. Alright guys, so here are the cookies. The brown butter ones are the ones that are on the left here. And then toward the right we have the ones with the chocolate chips. As you can see, they're a little bit more scraggly and beautiful nonetheless. You have one there with some salt on it. I'm just trying some different stuff here. Here's another with salt. The brown butter are my favorite personally right now. I'm definitely going through changes with like tastes and textures of everything. So like the brown butter is like my absolute favorite. So the front is here. See, it's got a little bit of cracking there, and then it's got a light golden brown back. Whenever you break it open, it is crispy on the outside and chewy on the inside. It's got like the crispy chew on the outside. Like, it's still chewy, it's not like crunchy. And then let me show you guys one of these. I'm actually making like some gigantic ones in the oven right now. And these are exactly the same, crispy on the outside and then like nice and gooey on the inside. Here is one of the chocolate chips, so you can kind of see that. Definitely try the Ghirardelli in there because It's like more of like like whenever you see cookies on the internet and they're all ooey gooey and chocolatey and they look so melted, it's usually something like that where it's like coming off of like a block. They melt really super well. Chips and blocks have like a completely different usage pretty much. Like it's not even the fact that one of them is like wrong necessarily, it's just that you want a different there's a timer for the cookies. It's just that you want a different outcome. So right here you can actually see one of the chips and one of the pieces of Ghirardelli right there. Always good. There's a piece of a walnut in there. And the reason that I like walnuts and pecans in there is because like they're just they're just raw, and so they're very neutral. And so it kind of breaks up the sweetness of the sugar in the cookie. It also breaks up like the like smokiness of like the browned butter as well. So it's just kind of like a, sorry, I thought I saw someone over there. It's just kind of a nice neutral like and just a small amount of a different texture just to add body to the cookie, and honestly it's so great. If you got this far, thank you so much, really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. These are really, like I said, a little bit hard to make. I'm still learning everything, so if you liked it, you know, just let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. I will list everything down below in the description box. If you got this far, do not go solely off of what I said in the video, because sometimes you kind of learn stuff like while you're talking and like while everything is going. Like the time and for the cookies was a little bit longer based on who knows. Also, I figured out that the top, I'm still getting used to this oven because it's only been like about a month. The top of this oven makes them spread a little bit wider than the bottom, so the bottom is running a little bit hot. So next time I might actually cook these like at 350 and just see how that goes for longer. But yeah, I'm pretty much just rambling at this point. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Please have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye.